going to start with the anatomy. So first we have the epiglottis. It's a little short, a little shorter than it should be, but it is the black piece right here. And then we have the hyoid, which is the orange piece, the thyroid cartilage, which is the purple, then the cricoid, which is the green, and then we have the corniculate cartilages, the little red ones right there, and then we have the arytenoids, the blue. It's a little harder to see that one. But next we're going to do the intrinsic muscles. We have the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, which is the silver-ish stuff. It kind of changed colors with the blue. Then we have the transverse arytenoid muscle, which is the orange pipe cleaner, and the oblique arytenoid muscle, which is the pink paper that fell during travel. Then we've got the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle, which is the black going across here, here. And we have the cricothyroid, cricothyroid, I'm sorry. The cricothyroid muscle, which is the string right here, and the thyroarytenoid muscles, which are hard to see, but the yellow, back behind the epiglottis and connecting to the arytenoid. Next, we have the thyrohyoid membrane, which is the piece connecting the hyoid and the thyroid. Then we have the cricothyroid membrane, which is connecting the cricoid and the thyroid. And then we have our first tracheal ring, which also serves as the connection for the cricotracheal membrane, which is right in here, back in here. Sorry. Next we have the cricothyroid joint, which connection for the cricoid and thyroid, and the cricoarytenoid joint, which is right back here in the back, which is the connection point for the cricoid and the arytenoid. Then we have the aryepiglottic fold, which is the red on the epiglottis, and the superior laryngeal nerve here coming into the membranes, and then the recurrent laryngeal nerve running somewhat down the side of the trachea, and then we have the trachea. So next we are going to talk about the questions and respiration as it relates to voice production. So during inhalation, your diaphragm drops and your lungs are able to expand due to your rib cage expansion, and that allows the air to go into the lungs, and the vocal folds will then adduct due to the negative supraglottic air pressure. And during exhalation, the vocal folds are abducted and air leaves due to the positive subglottic pressure. The next question is the necessary, conditions for phonation, and those were medial compression, phonatory threshold, longitudinal tension, and then adduction of the vocal folds. Another one of the questions was asking about the myoelastic aerodynamic theory of phonation, and this is basically that when the vocal folds are open by the pressure from the lungs, they will come back together due to the elastic property of the vocal fold, and the pressure will drop between the folds, and that will allow for phonation. So the elasticity of the vocal folds helps to close the vocal folds, and the aerodynamic properties assist with vibration. The nerve supply of each of the intrinsic muscles are so the cricothyroid muscle is supplied by the superior laryngeal nerve, while all of the others are supplied by the recurrent laryngeal nerve. I believe, and the functions of all of the others. So the epiglottis, now for physiology, the epiglottis protects the airway when we're swallowing. The hyoid is the support for the base of the tongue, and it also suspends the larynx. The thyroid is its purpose is to protect the vocal folds, and it's got different corneas on it as well, superior and inferior. The cricoid cartilage is a support for the thyroid and the arytenoids, since they sit on top of it. The corniculate cartilage doesn't really have a function. It's just kind of there, which is interesting. And the arytenoid cartilages are the connection points for the vocal folds, which allow for the abduction and adduction, and they sit on the cricoid. So the function of the muscles. The thyroarytenoid is key for phonation. It helps with controlling pitch by stiffening. Then the posterior cricoarytenoids, they abduct the vocal folds, whereas the lateral, the black ones, they adduct the vocal folds, and then the transverse arytenoid muscle pulls the edge of the arytenoids together during adduction, and the oblique cricoarytenoid muscle does the the oblique arytenoid muscle does the same. The cricothyroid is right here, and its purpose is to reduce the space between the thyroid and the cricoid, which helps to lengthen the vocal folds. Trying to make sure I got them all. I think I've got them all. Yes. Okay. And then the mucosal wave. So the mucosal wave is, in my understanding, the wave from the vocal folds that results from the pressure. It'll have a wavelength motion, and it will run inferior to superior with the vocal folds. So I think that's everything with it, and